Hi, this is Phil Separano of Phil Separano Plumbing and Heating, and I just wanted to show you what it looks like when you get a burst pipe. Okay, I colored it in a little bit so you could see it on the camera. Okay, it looks like a little slot right there. Okay, that dark spot that's going across the pipe. Okay, that's right here. That's a pipe that froze, and what happened is it froze, and when it freezes, the pipe actually expands because the ice expands as it freezes. Now what happens is too, it freezes and water will stop. Even though that pipe is cracked like that, is split like that, no water will come out. Why? Because now you got a frozen pipe from here to here, let's say. Okay, so water coming from this direction cannot go. Water coming from this direction cannot go because there's a big ice cube. There's an ice cube in the middle here. So it could be frozen for a couple of days, a couple of hours. Once the temperature starts to change, or the house gets warm, wherever it's had frozen, it starts to melt, and then the water slowly starts to come out. And once it is completely frozen, you got a good spray coming out of there. It might look like a little slit, but believe me, under the amount of pressure that it's under, that could shoot across the room. So, just wanted to give you an idea of what a burst pipe looks like. Okay, and this could happen in copper pipe. It could happen in galvanized pipe. It could happen in brass pipe. Doesn't matter what the pipe is made out of. Freezing water will break any pipe. The only thing about PEX pipe is it'll freeze, but it can expand, from what I'm told, I believe it's 5 times its size. And then after the frost, it goes back to the original size. So that's one of the saving graces of PEX pipe. But you don't want to take a chance anyway. You don't want it to freeze. Okay. Okay. Also, what I wanted to talk to you about is stuff that's to code. Okay. Now I see these all over the place, and you know, I know when I didn't know better. This is what, when I first went into business, I didn't realize that these were not to code, but they're not. And what these are, they're what they call ice maker valves. Okay, they're these little valves that what you do is you have 2 pieces of, let me take my glove off so you can see a little bit better. I don't like to handle dirty stuff anyway. What you have is 2 pieces of metal, okay, and they strap around the copper pipe. Matter of fact, here, let me show you. They'll strap across the pipe like this, okay, and then 2 screws. Okay, you screw it on. Okay, I'm not going to get into too much detail because I don't want you to be doing this. But anyway, and this is a valve that they use on humidifiers and ice maker lines, and they're not to code. And the reason that they're not to code is they're a saddle valve, and a saddle valve is not allowed on copper. And the other thing is, it's just like getting back to your old crappy valve like this. It will leak. Now, this valve has more of a chance of leaking because, you know, you're tapping in to a piece of pipe, and sometimes it gets moved around or whatever. So it can leak from here, it could leak from here, which is the opening on it, or it could leak from the stem or the packing. So these are not the code. Best thing, you get a valve like this, you put a T into the T-fitting into the pipe, and they make these ice maker size also. It's just the opening here is a little smaller for ice maker size. So that's what you want to do. Again, these are not the code, these valves, okay? I don't use them, and nobody else should use them. They're just a piece of garbage, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, here we have something a little different. For the longest time, these were not the code. These are those flexible lines that, you know, you can buy in the so-called big box store, as everybody calls them. The only problem with these is they look nice and strong, okay, because they got this braided covering on them, but inside it's a very, very thin piece of plastic. And I never used them because when they first came out they were not the code, and I believe in some townships they are now the code, but I still don't use them anyway. What I was using was copper. You know, these originally were made in copper for the connection. So I was using those, and now since PEX has come around, I use the PEX ones. They're made out of PEX. And PEX has a burst pressure at, I believe, 100 pounds. But getting back to this, I never used them, but I went to a customer's house, and they had a flood and it was a Levitt house. They had their slop sink hooked up by someone, and they used these pipes. And I don't know how it happened, but somewhere in here, the pipe that was inside, the thin plastic pipe that's in there, burst. And they had quite a flood. And I have it somewhere because I show people what the inside of this looks like, and it's just garbage. Now also, when these first came out, the ends here were plastic. It was some kind of crappy plastic, and what would happen is if you tightened it too tight, or after a certain amount of months or years, they would just break. They would just break and pop off, and again, you'd wind up with a flood. So I just don't use these. Sometimes some people use them on washing machine hoses. There's an iffy subject, because a washing machine hose is a little bit better than this, but some people feel more comfortable using using this on their washing machine hoses. You know, that's their choice. I use regular washing machine hoses, you know, and you should change your washing machine hoses about every 8 to 12 years if possible. Also, getting back to the ice maker line, okay, for a long time, you know, and to code, you're supposed to and still can use copper. Okay, but a lot of people are using this crappy plastic pipe. It's sort of a kind of a translucent type plastic, cloudy looking plastic. You could kind of see through it, but you can't. It's a little opaque, I guess you would call it. That's not the code. That's also not the code. And for a very good reason. What happens is that plastic gets very brittle, okay, and that could crack or split or what have you. So you don't want to use that if you ever go to change, if someone goes to change your ice maker line. Don't let them use that crappy, opaque looking stuff. It's just not the code. And I've had experiences with that where the pipe has cracked. And so that's just another one of my tips. Okay? Thank you.